Can you tell me about your grandparents or your great-grandparents?
I never knew my great-grandparents, but I knew the grandparents that were my mother's parents. They lived in Alabama, and I loved visiting them in the summer. They had such a different life, and I loved being a part of it. We would wash clothes in a huge black vat in the backyard, for example, build a fire around it, and I thought that was so cool because we used a washing machine at home in Florida, and they raised chickens, and the baby chickens would often be born when I was there. And we would, my grandfather would help me catch June bugs and tie string around their leg.
Ooh.
And let them fly around like a kite.
Can you tell me one of your happiest memories?
When each of my daughters were born, when each of my grandchildren were born, the day you were born, you were quite a little handful. We had a flood the day you were born. It was the worst one I've seen in this area, other than when there's a hurricane like where I grew up in Florida. But I had left my car window open, as it turns out, when I got to Mercy Hospital. And, well, when I opened my car door, water came pouring out the door.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, really bad. But we were able to get you home without getting you wet.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't, it was later that you developed colic. The first day you were nothing but sugar and spice and everything nice. You even smiled as young as you were. Babies don't smile that young, people say, but sometimes they do. People say if babies smile at that age, that it's because they have gas. And maybe it was.
Can you tell me about some of the most important lessons you've learned in your life?
I've learned the importance of treating other people like you want to be treated yourself. That do unto others, that is so important. Learn that life is hard. The sooner you accept that fact and roll with it, the better off you are.
What was your childhood home like? Who else lived in the house with you? And what did your bedroom look like?
It was just my mom and dad, and my sister and I, and my dog Blaze. My mother was not well. She was often very sick. The war, I think it was World War II, that's what I have to make sure of, was ending. And during the war, which was during part of my childhood, everything was scarce. All food was scarce, and gasoline even, it just wasn't available. And because it was used for the troops and fighting and stuff. So everybody was very, very poor. And nobody had enough of anything, it seems like. And then suddenly there was plenty because the war ended. So it was thrilling to go to the movies every Saturday. My parents would grocery shop while my sister and I were in the movies. And we'd go home with lots and lots of food, and we would stop in the sundry shop and get a book of paper dolls or a coloring book, crayons. And that was such great pleasure because it was something we hadn't been able to ever do before, you know. We liked plastic bubbles back then, I remember. I don't know what happened to those tubes of goop and a bubble blower you put on and blow and get bubbles all sizes, and they smelled really, what I realize now is toxic. But then you could squeeze them into all kinds of shapes. And trading cards. I love trading cards. We had trading cards that was of famous artwork, and you trade with other kids to get what you wanted or needed in your collection.